Let's talk about different kind of communication methods. Communication can happen face to face. It can happen over phone. If you're in a group meeting, communication can happen there. If you are presenting and you have some listener over there, so that's a form of communication. You can leave some memo or note to someone, then the communication or information passing is clear here. You can send someone postal mail by writing letter or some other documents. You can also fax. Audio or videotape, even if you're not present there, still you can send your message to other people using these. You can email someone. Now think about during the corona situation, we are doing computer conference. Here the communication is clear between me and you people. We can send voicemail. So the receiver can check it out later in the convenient time. Still, there can be communication, teleconference or video conference. All these way are different methods of communication. Usually when we talk about communication, we always assume that there will be two people talking to each other, passing information. That's communication, right? But communication can also be done non-verbally, like without talking. So communication, non-verbal communication, is the transfer of information through the use of sound, images, or body language by using different gesture, facial expression, or other body movement to tell the meaning to someone. For example, when you are smiling after meeting someone, that actually showing the friendliness, the openness, the acceptance of the other person to you. Image, like if you love someone, you can send a heart so the other person will understand by this image that how much you love this person. Think about body language, like sometimes like students, Chinese students, if you're not fluent in Korean, sometimes you can find it difficult to communicate, right? Here in Korea. So sometimes I'm sure you try to use your body language to explain that you have headache, you have stomach ache, you need to buy something. Sometimes you show some images, right? So using all this, you can actually communicate with others. Now let's talk about the organizational communication, which is different from usual communication you have inside your family, among your friends. So you can say that there are two types of organizational communication. One is formal communication, another is informal communication. Formal communication is where communication is part of one's job. Attending a meeting, giving different kind of information about the group project. Okay, showing some videos about a project or the design of your project with some images or some videos. Okay, this kind of communication where you have a target to achieve, you have like job related work, job related meeting, job related email or anything. So those are formal communication. The informal communication permits employee to satisfy their need for social interaction. If you are part of one company, that doesn't mean you talk only about work with your coworker. Sometimes you ask your coworker, how about meeting during weekend? How about go for dinner together or sharing some personal information? Those are actually informal communication that also happens inside organization, and it's very, very important because if you have a friendly environment where you can share different kind of information, exchange ideas and opinion, it is actually good for the friendliness of the environment. So inside one organization there can be these two type of communication. One can be formal, only related with job, another can be informal, outside the job, the things that you talk and share with your coworkers. Okay? Now let's talk about the direction of communication flow. Communication can flow in different way. Sometimes communication go downward. What does that mean? It means communication that flows from manager to the employee. For example, the CEO told you, the manager, that you have to tell all the employees to work overtime. So as a manager, you are telling this information to all the employees working under you. So from the top of the department, the CEO, it's going downward to all the employees. And what is upward communication flow? This is communication that flow from employees to the manager or above. Something happened inside the office, so the employees tell the manager to talk to CEO. So from the bottom of the organizational structure, it's going upward to the manager or to the CEO. So communication can flow both ways, upward or downward. Communication is something that was with us from the very beginning of life. Long time ago, when there were no language, people used to do painting in the cave or on the ground to communicate with each other. Later, language came. People started to talk to each other, share information with each other. Now think about our life in this modern age. We have many ways to communicate. We can send text, we can use the internet, we can send voice message, email, fax, and other stuffs, right? So information technology has changed our communication over time. So there are some benefits of this information technology, this ID development. Why? It has increased the ability to monitor individual and team performance. Now, with the use of information technology, you can actually track how well your employees are working, how much progress did they make. You can save everything in the computer and check, right? It actually helps you for better decision making based on more complete information. All the numbers, all the informations are there in the system. Whenever you need it, whenever you need to come to a conclusion, you just look for the number, right? And also it has greater accessibility. That means what? You can store it, all the informations, all the financial records and everything, and you can easily share it with your coworker. You don't have to print, don't need to see like someone face to face. You can just send it in one click. So information technology has changed our way of communication for good. So inside the organization, the way IT or information technology work through networked computer system. The system inside the organization where information technology is used is called networked computer system. It actually links individuals' computer to create an organizational network for communication and information sharing. So in one organization, all the computers are linked. Think about when I come to the class, no matter which room I go for class, I can just turn on the computer and open my account, Youngjin account, from any computer, from anywhere, right? So it's actually linked, all the computers at Youngjin, and we can easily share information. I can share the video conference, the files and everything with you guys in one click, right? So by using email, by instant messaging, or voicemail or fax, teleconferencing, video conferencing, using internet, okay, we actually can use this computer system for better communication inside one organization. So I'm going to share some tips for sending emails. So usually if we are doing some kind of communication, as I said, there can be different kind of communication. There can be presentation, there can be meetings, there can be sending documents or emails. For today's lesson, I'm just telling you about email. So tips for sending email. When you're sending an email, you should always use the subject line. Okay, so in the subject, don't leave it empty. So if you leave the subject line empty, the reader will not pay attention to it. It will be like it will go to the junk. Okay, so always write the subject line, and your subject line should focus how important it is. Okay, for example, you are sending me one email, write down that assignment 1 and your name and your ID. So I will understand this is from one of my student with this name and this ID, and this is assignment 1. So it should be clearly written in the subject so I don't put it in the trash. You have to be careful using emoticons or acronyms for business communication. When we are talking informally among groups or we are chatting, you can use different kind of emoticons or a short form of word. But when you're sending a business email, you should not put any emoticons and you should not use any short term like BRB, be right back. You can say that with your friends, okay, but you cannot write that in the business letter or business email or texting, okay? So make sure you are really formal with your words and sentences. Write clearly and briefly. Don't take too much time to write down everything because nobody has that much time to read A to Z. So just the punchline, the topic, major sentences, you just write it clearly and briefly, okay? And you should always copy email to others or keep a copy if there's really need the information. So maybe you have a business dealing with someone and your CEO should know about it. So send one copy to your CEO. So later if there is any problem, your CEO knows that what you talked about and you have no, you're not responsible for the mishap. Okay. So always send a copy of the email to someone involved in the group or you can save a copy. Okay. That's all for today's lesson. Thank you very much for paying attention. I will see you guys again next week, same time, same day. Till then, take care and bye bye.